No, for sure. They definitely had them rattled. So, but let's get into it, everybody. Let's get into what we got going on. Get our film review underway. We're gonna start off with Johnathan Taylor's big time run yesterday. A handoff and a bunch of a ton of yards past the line of scrimmage. It was pretty beautiful. Let's go to the beginning of it. And here's the situation. Right, here's the situation. Colts are up 17-3 in the third quarter. 8 minutes, 53 seconds remain, and it is 1st and 10. The Colts are on their own 12-yard line. Let's take a listen and a watch as to how this play unfolds, and we will then we'll start to break it down right after that.
From Lucas Oil. Wentz and company begin just outside the 10. Taylor is his first big run. Taylor breaking free. Has a lead blocker. Taylor all the way down to the 5-yard line. Terrence Mitchell saving a touchdown, but not before Taylor gashes him for 84 yards.
All day we've been talking about the opportunity to get outside.
All right. So there was that. To our visual watchers, I think we got it. The box is pretty good. Our face is pretty set up, so it's not blocking anything important. So our situation for this play, the Colts are in a 12 personnel. Very beautiful, like vintage design, I would dare say. Both tight ends, and again, for those who don't, are just joining us to try and learn something. 12 personnel means one running back, which is Mr. Johnathan Taylor in the backfield. And the number 2, the second number always means 2 tight ends. So, and both of our tight ends are on the, they're both separated. It's a very balanced offensive line. Mo Ellie Cox is on the left side of the offensive line, while tight end Jack Doyle is on the right. And we have 2 guys wide. I'm not sure. I can't really tell. It looks like Pittman and Pascal. No, Pascal might have been out at that point. I'm not sure who the other one is, but regardless, Carson Wentz, it is single back, but yeah, very, very balanced offensive line. The defense, all right, Houston's defense, we're looking at a 4-3. All right, we're looking at a 4-3, and they seem to be playing some kind of zone coverage. You really tell once the play starts to unfold a little bit, but they do something very interesting here, all right? Well, not interesting, but it's not really like surprising, but it's always kind of cool to pick up on it. They disguise their cover 3 defense with a cover 1. So for people who don't understand what that exactly means, when we list cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, cover 0, cover 6, it's basically who is how many people do they have deep? That's basically what it is. Cover 2 means 2 people deep. Right now, there are, on the camera shot, I want to make sure I'm not blocking anybody. Okay, I just moved my face for you all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we have 1 guy deep. All right, so there you go. Just move my face for y'all. Actually, I'll move it. Oh, God, I'm moving everything. Okay. All right, I'm just going to stop touching that. So let's, so that you'll see, I'll show you in just a moment where you start to see that unfolding. But they do have an interesting little scenario here. There's a gentleman over here on the right side of the defensive line, left end of the offense, but cornerback, linebacker. I'm not really certain what position he typically plays. Do we ever identify that, Brian, beforehand?
No, I mean just I'm looking through my phone, so everything's been very awkward, but just by his size alone, I would think that's a linebacker, and then the vice versa, the man that is lined up on the opposite hash, standing up where the 3 guys are, all the Texans, I think that is our extra secondary player.
Okay.
I don't know, like we definitely have the 2 corners outside covering the 2 wideouts outside. But it's very odd the way they're choosing to match up with Mo Alley Cox here. Normally, this could be called what is like a 4-3 over, which means that they're purposely overloading one side of the line. So you got 3 defenders on the left side of the offensive line, the right side of the defensive line. So you would think actually that where we know that the run ends up going to the left side of the offensive line is they're actually loaded on the right side. The problem is that they get confused by some very creative um, play design here, which is when Mo Alley Cox crosses the line, crosses the formation, and looks like it's going to be a trap or a counter, because normally that's a cue to the defense that when you get a guy pull from one side to the other post snap, that it's going to be some kind of counter trap or something like that. So
For sure, yeah. Let's show you what he's referring to.
From Lucas Oil.
All right, so here comes the hike, and like you said, Mo Alley Cox jumps across. He goes across, which is kind of strange. I guess it's the purpose of that, maybe pick up some blindside protection. As far as what I mean by blindside is, I mean for right now, JT and Carson are looking at the left side of the field. So I would dare say that the right half of the offensive line is kind of their blind side. And Mo Alley, he runs that way. I think it might help sell the play going to the right to the defense a little bit. But he actually has a very important block here. But you can also see the defenders, they're pulling back. Right, we already had the one guy back there, but these two cornerbacks start to fall back. That's where the cover one is disguised as cover three. So let me show you that one more time. All right, so you're playing up. They're in your camera view, and then they start to back up. That means they're going deep. But yeah, so back to Mo Alley Cox in this offensive line. We have a defender over here. I believe it's looks like a 60 or a 50. He's coming across on the right side of the offensive line, and this is where the pull is so important. All right, if this lane is wide open, right, if we don't have anybody picking up a defender here to block, this guy can disrupt the entire play. You know what I mean? If this is a fake handoff, right, which obviously it wasn't, but if this is a fake handoff, Carson's done. If this guy can, what was the phrasing? If he can, shift, he can get Johnathan Taylor from behind if he's a little bit quicker. But I think he's a little bit slow on his approach to this. But Mo Alley Cox gives a big time block. Taylor's already got the ball at this point. A lot of good blocking here, except Eric Fisher, naturally. But Eric Fisher does get it a very important, like we'll call it a bump, so to speak. And I'll show you what that means. All right, so this guy on the edge, who we discussed, is probably another secondary person. This gentleman right about here, again, on the right side of the defensive line. Fisher bumps him just enough to give Taylor a running lane. Bam, little pop, and he's good.
Yep.
And
he welcomes the rush, knowing that he can just ride him to the outside and give Johnathan Taylor that gap to run through.
Absolutely. I mean, Taylor's so speedy, right? Even Frank Reich talked about it in the post-game press conference. You can't design and plan on runs to go 80-something yards, but that's the uniqueness of Johnathan Taylor. And he takes off. He burns everybody, picks up a big block. I think that's Pascal who picks up that block, and that helps him get into the red zone. And of course, Taylor with a little bit of push off, a little bit of stiff arm, so to speak. And he's good. This is very wise on Pittman, though. I want to give Pittman a lot of credit too. This could very, very easily go to a block in the back, right? I think block in the back, maybe holding to an extent. I'm not sure where they're allowed to call holding at, but Pittman is very hand fighting. He doesn't push the dude from behind, which he easily could, but that would be bad. That would bring the play back a little bit. He hand fights, and then he's like, okay, I've done all I can do. So I thought that was pretty wise on Pittman to approach it like that and, get that blocking. But, yeah, Taylor's inside the red zone. One red zone to the other one on this miraculous play. So it was just good fundamentally. So let's run through it one more time. So 12 personnel. We got a single back. All right, we got two tight ends out there, Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle playing very important roles. The defense, 4-3 zone with a cover 3 disguised as cover 1 right off the top. And the most important part of this is the Eric Fisher bump, a little bump block, and Mo Alley Cox kind of going on the rear side. So it opened up a huge running lane. And also, too, for people who want to understand offensive line, like blocking stuff a little bit too, the offensive line, they're for the core offensive line, their blocking went in the direction of the run. So I mean, if you're a good defensive, player like what these linebackers, not saying that these linebackers are good, but if you're playing that position, that's how you kind of read a play and how it unfolds. And that's how a lot of these really big name players can kind of break down. They look for little visual cues. You'll see the offensive line go to the left.
Yeah, there's two defenders that I specifically want to point out, and it is that guy that we were talking about that's on the hash there, lined up across from Mo Alley Cox. He is the last defender on the edge. His job is to contain no matter what. You need to contain, not let anything get outside. You need to bounce that run back inside. He completely whiffs that assignment, just completely disregards it and just crashes, which is exactly what the offensive line wants. And then also watch one of these linebackers that are lined up on the opposite hash that are standing up. They totally read the Mo Alley Cox motion and draws one of them to the right side. And then the run goes to the left.
Right. Oh, I'm getting blowed up now. It's too early for these text messages, people. But yeah, no, that very integral part of how this unfolds. So let's watch it go one more time, and then we'll move on to our next play. All right, there's your pull block, there's your bump, and Taylor is gone. Good block by Pascal. A little push by Pittman. Bam. 4-yard line. 4-yard line.
And then I believe on the next play, Johnathan Taylor punches it in.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe he does as well. So, all right. So there's one play down. Not too shabby. Little JT action there. Always happy. We haven't really spotlight. I mean, we've acknowledged our running backs, but we've never. I don't think it's been a while since we've done like a strict like run play, like a positive for offense.
Oh, I agree.
So yeah, it's been a little while. So that was pretty cool to do.
319, 399, cut. 3-3.
Yeah, spot.